self-acceptable. And some of them are sorry they are free now. Some of them now would rather be slaves.
Which would you rather be, Uncle Phil?
Me? Which I'd rather be? You know what I'd rather do? If I thought that I'd ever be a slave again, I'd take a gun and just end it all right away.
I know. Malcolm was a good man. Now, if you don't think so, obviously you've been hearing something that you should not have been hearing. Malcolm went into that movement out of prison with 4 mosques made up of senior citizens. And before he was expelled from that movement, there was a mosque in every major city in the United States and outside of the United States. For God's sake, don't take away his work and his legacy. He spent time away from his family that he should have been with his family. And now, don't reduce his work to nothing. Whatever discipline I have, which is not much, came from Malcolm, not my mother. Whatever strength I have came from Malcolm, not my mother. Whatever tolerance and love of my people came from Malcolm. I was reared like most folks going through public schools with not much respect for myself or black people. So that I have Malcolm to thank. How could I have 6 kids and go to graduate school and every other month they were going to foreclose on the house, and my kids was in school and the car note and the food and the this and the that and the other? How could I do that if I didn't have some of his wisdom? How could I have nothing and still consider it a responsibility to help others? I can remember Mr. Sutton and his brother, who called me into the office once and said, you know, why didn't you tell us they were going to foreclose on your house and take your house? Why didn't you tell us? Well, we have decided, he said, that we're going to help you. And I started crying. He said, why are you crying? I said, because you all are so kind. He says, he really is a businessman. Those tears dried up. He said, my dear, we're not helping you out of kindness, but it is much easier to help you rather.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I'm the host of this particular program, known here on the internet, around the earth, around the planet, wherever you find me. I am the mighty Angel Snotting Up 7. I is your brother, whether you like it or not. For those of you who are descendants of slaves born in America, I'm your brother and hopefully your friend. Taalik, Ibn'rad. I would like to bring response or challenge the idea, the opinion, the philosophy of those who claim that a woman cannot raise a man. And I will step it up a little bit more. I will tell you that it takes nobody to raise a man. That if it is a man to come from up out of that boy, no woman or no man is needed in order for that man to come into being. And I'll tell you why. You have animals in the wild that was orphaned for some reason. Maybe the parents were killed, they were poached. Maybe the poor animal was abandoned. We don't know. But what we do know is that a hippo, a male lion, and let's say a male crocodile, all these are orphan babies. They are orphan male babies that do not know their parents. So they end up being raised up by human beings. So the only parent that the baby male hippo know is that of human beings. The little male cub, he only knows human beings as parents as well as the crocodile. Now, as they grow up, you have some of these males, they may friend or they may embrace the slave type of lifestyle that they were forced into and don't know no other kind of life. But then you have male animals. They don't lose what and who they are. So it makes no difference whether they was raised by their parents or a human being. The male hippo knows, I'm a male hippo. The male lion knows, I'm a male lion. The male crocodile knows, I'm a male crocodile. And sometimes the human parents, those who keep these animals, they learn the hard way that these are not your pets. It's nice that you helped me when I was a baby, but now I'm a full-grown hippo. I'm a full-grown lion. I'm a full-grown crocodile. I know who I am. And if you don't respect that, then one day you're going to get seriously hurt. So many people, because they believe that these animals have become domesticated, every year these certain amount of people get killed. They get hurt because the male hippo is a male hippo with or without his parents. The lion is a male lion with or without a parent, male or female, as well as the crocodile. In most mammals, fathers have nothing to do with the actual raising of the babies. It's all up to the mother. The mother teaches the male cub how to do this and how to do that. It's the mothers who are the teachers. The males usually might offer protection. They might offer food, but you don't see them teaching the young cubs or whatever. It's up to the mother. what has happened to the black man in America because of over 300 years of being enslaved. We don't know what our manhood is. We don't know what it is to be a hippo. We don't know what it is to be a lion. We don't know what it is to be a crocodile. So without a male figure, we become lost and we copy the only people that we know of, those who have kept us in a cage, like what happens to some wild animals. I'm so happy that I did not lose my manhood, regardless. I was raised around mostly women. There was no man in my life to teach me nothing. So when I came into puberty, I had to learn all these feelings and all these things myself. Because there was still the essence of manhood was in my soul. It ain't something, a man can't teach me that. A man can be an example, but a man can't teach you to be a man. It has to be in you. Just like the essence of maleness is in the hippo or the lion or the crocodile. They can have examples of what a grown lion is supposed to be like, but it's supposed to be in you already. You don't have to be taught. There was no sexual education for me at school. There was no man role model except those I read about in a book, which couldn't help me in my personal life. So I had to learn all about the changes in my body as a man and all these things myself. So the essence of manhood is natural. You don't have to be taught. So for these nutcases to talk about you got to have a man in the house, that's a lie. Because there was no male running around in my house, and I can stand up to you just as well as any person that had two parents in the house. Matter of fact, most of y'all that have two parents in the house, you become little sissies. I had to do everything on my own. I had to learn how to think and do everything on my own. I had to rely on myself as a teacher. I had to rely on my nature. But what is manhood itself? In order to determine your role in life, society determines the role of the man. And most times, we determine the role of the man or what manhood is based on religious or political influence, and usually political influence is influenced by religion. I'm the head of household. You the head of household, but you ain't leading. You the head of household and you're not creating. Here you are, you're a black man. We have been in this nation for 400 years, and you barely have a pot to piss in. And the pot that you have was given to you by another man. Otherwise, you be taking a dump in the dirt. And all of you so-called men that talk about a man supposed to be in the house. How many children are you raising? How many young men are you teaching how to be a man? You ain't doing nothing except running your mouth. Nothing at all. But see, black men cannot be taught proper manhood, and we cannot be given manhood training because we don't have a society. We are living in another man's house. So we base our manhood on the criteria that they establish. We have no laws. We have no government. We have nothing. So how you going to tell somebody about a man when you can't tell them what is the criteria, what is the role, what is expected? Just go to work, get a job, get married, have some children, and die. Is that it? That's all it is for me? to be a man. That's all my role is in life, is just to grow up, get a job, get a wife, have some children, and die. That's all is expected. That's all I am. But then you said that I am a child of God, and that's all I am to God, is just somebody to go to work, get a wife, have some children, and die. So I'm asking God, is this all that I was born into this life for? That's all? And I'm supposed to be your child? And you are the creator of the universe, and this is all I can do? Something is wrong somewhere. And if you truly are a man, then you want to be truly free. A real man don't want to live in another man's house. But you have millions of black men that don't mind living in another man's house because this mine too. Well, if it's yours, where are your laws? What is your policy that everybody else follow? You have no say-so in what goes on in this nation because this is not your house. That's your delusion. That's your fantasy. Real men want to build their own house. Then they can go and create their own civilization, their own nation. Then they can determine the criteria of what manhood is. The role of men, the role of women, and the role of children. But when you're a slave, and that's what we are, somebody else do that for us. So don't come here to me like you talking some big stuff. The male is the head of household and all this old foolishness. A woman can't raise a man. That's because you don't understand the concept of life, period, because you're a slave. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on the internet as the mighty Angel Snout Number 7. I am your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I want to say that this particular topic, it may offend, it may garner much dislike, but when you have to tell the truth, when you especially have to tell the real truth, you are not expected to become popular. This is not a popularity contest. I'm not trying to be a celebrity. Those who speak real truth are speaking that which exposes falsehood, and to speak a language which is in the best interest of all who are involved. It hurts, and it may hurt to tell your loved one your breath stinks, and your loved one who just brushed their teeth, washed their mouth out with Listerine, they may be offended if you tell them, baby, your breath stink. What you mean? What you mean my breath stink? I just brushed my teeth and I just gargled my mouth out with Listerine. Yeah, but you a lie. They would rather you tell them a lie than tell the truth. I'm smelling your breath. This is actual facts. So since they refuse to hear your truth, they would rather go out in the public and have other people talk about them behind their back. Man, you smell that person's breath? Ooh, Lord. And that is what is happening in our society. We would rather hear a lie than the real truth because truth hurts our feelings. Some people have breath that just brushing your teeth and washing your mouth out with Listerine, it cannot have any effect. But we don't want to hear that. So anytime we make a video about homosexual behavior, it is expected to get thumbs down. It is expected, or the one who is the truth teller, or the one who is asking valid questions, we are accused of hate. And that is so silly because, see, that's your only defense against the truth. As soon as somebody teach and expose the truth, the first thing the messenger is accused of, oh, you hate us. So silly. That don't work in 2013. You can keep trying, but that don't work because nobody is homophobic. Why should anybody be homophobic? Just because somebody dislike your particular behavior don't mean they hate you. It is much like a vegetarian and a meat eater. Does the vegetarian hate the meat eater simply because the meat eater eats meat? If that's the case, we in this society, there are a lot of hate-filled vegetarians because the majority of the people in this country love to eat them some decomposing flesh. And that's what it is. But just because a person eats meat and I'm a vegetarian does not mean I hate you. I dislike that you eat meat. I think that there's a better way and it's more healthier if you become a vegetarian. But I understand why you are a meat eater. We should understand why we are meat eaters. I was told by a dentist that the human body was designed for vegetation. The human being was not designed to be a place for decomposing flesh, a living cemetery pit. We don't want to hear it because all our lives we ate meat. My granddaddy ate meat. Great-great-granddaddy ate meat. When we was living in the caves, they ate meat. We always eat meat. My dog Snuffy eats meat. We don't want to hear the truth about nothing. But we don't know the reason why we eat meat. If it was normal for you and I to eat meat, then we could grab a chicken or a cow and eat meat just like Snuffy could, or a cat, or a hyena, or a lion, and all these other carnivores, but you can't. You have to chop it up with a knife. You have to process it artificially because you was not designed to eat nothing like that. Not really. We don't like to hear truth. I only have like 6 minutes left, but I just want to bring something to the gay, lesbian, homosexual community. Just a few questions, just some observations. Has nothing to do with hate. I've never had no problem with homosexual people. I've always had good experience with homosexual people. I've never had a homosexual person approach me in the wrong way. I've never had that type of problem. So why should I hate you? A homosexual person has caused me no harm at all, at no time. But since I am a messenger of the real truth, I have to tell it like it is. And you take the information, you take what you hear, and you do with it as you please. But I can say that I told you. My first observation is, why can't gay and lesbian people, especially homosexual black males, why can't y'all act normal? Just because I'm homosexual, that means I'm supposed to put on a dress? That means I'm supposed to put on lipstick and wigs and child, and you know, and you're a male and you try to act like a woman, and why you can't act normal? If I was homosexual, I would continue to act and behave just like I am, except I like men. I really love me some men. That's what I would tell you. If I was gay, if I was homosexual, I would be just who I am. I'm not going to be dressing up in no wigs, putting on no woman's shoes. I'm just going to be a person that I like men. What's up with why you can't act normal? And why y'all have to flaunt your sexuality? You want the whole world to know. Oh man, if I'm a man, I love me some men. If I'm a woman, let me show everybody I love women. Why you have to let everybody know? Gay pride. What are you proud of? You proud because I'm a man and I play with another man's penis? You proud because you're a woman, you play with another woman's vagina? So there should be heterosexual day and everybody get a parade. I'm a straight man. I love vagina. Let's put a vagina balloon up in the air. I'm a woman. Let's put a penis balloon up in the air. Let's go up and down the street. That don't sound like there's something is wrong there. Then here you are, you say that you are gay, you are lesbian, but you want children. If I'm gay, if I'm homosexual, if I'm a lesbian, why would I want children when my behaviors cannot produce children? I have to depend on those who are quote unquote normal heterosexual type people to produce unwanted children or pay them to give to so I can get a baby. Why do you have that desire? Why is the desire there? Something in here tells me there's some confusion going on, because if I'm homosexual, I don't want no children. You can't produce them. And then in your relationship of homosexuality, gay and lesbian, you take on the role of male and female. You have two men that's together, two women that's together, but one woman acts like the male in the relationship. One person acts like if you're a male, you act like the female in the relationship. There, you still have a male-female type relationship. So how are you gay? How are you really gay? Something is, don't you see, something is messed up in the wiring? See, this type of behavior is not natural. You don't want to hear that, but it's not natural. It comes from generations and generations and eons of exploitation of women, children, people being incarcerated and enslaved. That's where homosexual, all this stuff comes from. And it went on so long, it becomes natural, just like you think that it's natural that we should eat meat. And dentists, if they are truthful with you, and those who are biologists will tell you, no, you're not an omnivore. An omnivore is a scavenger. They can eat almost anything. You're not that. Your digestive system, you're designed for plant life. That's the bottom line. You don't want to hear that. And it seems like it's natural because we've been doing these things for so long. Well, homosexuality, you can find that in animals. No, you don't. What you find in animals is sexual frustration because some animals are not allowed to mate. So they take their behavior out on another male or another female, whatever they're the same gender, because they are not allowed to mate. Has nothing, they're not looking for pleasure. They want to reproduce. I'm going to say that again. These animals are acting out of sexual frustration because they want to reproduce. Not like you, who love a man love a man, woman love a woman. You can't reproduce. But for some reason, you want children. See, these are questions. And y'all don't like questions, and you don't like hearing the truth, but it is. Just accept the truth, y'all. Has nothing to do with hate. If we accept the real truth and we accept the truth, our roles in life, everything in this life will be much better, I'm telling you. But continue to reject, and we'll have rounded, and they have done something to catch the cabin of which he has been holed up in. It is on fire, and it seems as though a conclusion to this story will be it will be a matter of record in just a matter of hours. Now, some of us, we view, and I have heard some of us view Christopher Dorner as some modern day Nat Turner. And normally I don't like to speak about things like this, but I decided to just raise some questions so that we may look at Christopher Dorner in the most proper manner for those who are involved in the struggle we call black liberation, black consciousness, black nationalism, however you want to view it. For myself, I don't view this man, Christopher Dorner, as some Nat Turner for the following reasons. Now, prior to this incident, and I have been told I don't know, so if you do know, let's talk about it on this video. And please inform me, because I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything. I don't try to know everything. But I was told that Christopher Dorner was married to a pink female. And just the fact that he was married to a pink female, to compare him with Nat Turner, I think that's very far off base. Because if a person is married to a pink female, they are a dark European, they have a Sambo-like mentality, they believe they have been accepted into this society, that there is some new multiculturalism environment that's going on, and everything is honky-dory. Multicultural happiness. And you have so-called black folks, so-called Negroes out here who are involved in interracial relationships, involved in just loving the United States of America, believing that racism has gone away, or they live in some type of fantasy world. I view Christopher Dorner as a dark European. A dark European is somebody simply that has dark skin with the Caucasian mentality. They believe they fit in this society, which is Caucasian. And so now, in 2008, this man's world of happiness, it begins the process of falling apart with his termination in 2008 from the Los Angeles Police Department. Now, the question that I would like to raise, it is 2013. Between 2008 and 2013, you know, what other writings? You're going to sit around and write a 20-some page manifesto. If you have that type of energy to burn, where are your other writings? There, so that we can explore and understand your thinking. Because if you are a Nat Turner, then, and you're seeking racism, I want to see what your mindset is. What did you write? You did not begin to write until you became upset. What pro-black organization, what what signs do this man have of loving his ancestors, loving the black community? I have not heard those things. Nat Turner was a slave. He lived in oppression. He fought against racist Caucasian forces. You don't see this in this man. Now, instead of running around shooting people, and in fact, this man decided to murder the child and the fiance of the person who was defending him in the allegations that he was charged with in the police department. And these people were non-Caucasian. They, in fact, were people of color. They, in fact, had nothing to do. They were just related to police officers or those who were in authority or however. They were just related. How is this just? How is this fair? A far different situation than Nat Turner, because Nat Turner action was based on an evil against an entire nation of people, while this seems to be a personal vendetta. That's why I don't get involved in dark European activity and behavior, because as soon as they get upset, it's all about what color got to do anything. It's a beautiful world until they get in trouble. Then all of a sudden, it's the racism. It's the bias against blacks. It's all that. But until something happens to them, it's all hunky-dory. It's a beautiful world. Can't we all just get along? He did not murder non-Caucasians. Well, he did. He murdered non-Caucasians. He targeted those people. And again, these persons were innocent. They were just related to somebody he didn't like. If you're going to take the time, why didn't you get the people that you don't like? This man is not a Nat Turner. But see, this is a person of vendetta. And this is also, like someone said, and they quoted Malcolm, the chickens come home to roost. This man is a product that they made. They put in his mind this fantasy world, these delusions, and then when it all began to fall apart, he couldn't take it. If this man is a Nat Turner, please show me how he is like a Nat Turner. There's nothing. This is a personal vendetta because things went wrong in your happy life. Now, I would like to see what his wife has to say on this matter. I haven't seen anything or heard anything from his wife. Like I said, I was told that she is a Caucasian. And this story is coming to an end. The cabin that this man has been held up in, it's on fire. And perhaps he commits suicide and he's burning up in the fire. We really don't know right now. But this is an example, brothers and sisters. I don't get involved. Just because somebody is black do not mean it's a black issue. This man does not represent the Nation of Islam. He does not represent the Black Power Cartel. He is not a listener of the Realist on Earth Internet Ministry. He is not associated with nothing pro-black. How can we make a hero out of this person just because he simply has a vendetta against the Los Angeles Police Department, but you really don't see the Los Angeles police really being affected? Yeah, we had a few, but with this man's knowledge, what he knows, what he has done is terrible, but from the experience and the skills and the training this man have, You would think he really would wreak havoc on the LA Police Department, who he declared war upon. But see, this is also sensationalism of the news media, because I'm watching this, and again, it is terrible, the innocent lives that he took, because these persons was innocent. They had nothing to do with what he was being upset with, because I tell you, if I went crazy right now, my targets would be those of whom I have a problem with, the ones who mistreated me, that did me wrong. I'm not going to just run around just trying to kill anybody because they related to so-and-so. This is a different situation. This is a personal vendetta. This is not a man like Nat Turner who is fighting against an entire country, an entire system that was in place to oppress a people that made it a way of life for over 300 years. This is an example of a dark European, a Sambo person. In my opinion, I can be corrected. I can be in error, but from what I see, this is nothing but a Sambo, an Uncle Tom person, a dark European, who just got upset because things didn't go his way. That's all that I see. I don't see no heroic person fighting for black folks or doing something for black people. I don't see that at all. And you have these people, when they get upset, all of a sudden it's racism, all of a sudden it's black, because now they upset. But it's, as long as things was going, it's joyous and happy day, they don't say nothing. And you will see more and more of this as black folks like this dark European, they will begin to experience the reality of the life that they live in the United States, because racism is far from being dead. Let me go check it out. Check out the rest of this news broadcast. Y'all hang on. I love y'all. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. This was and is the Reality's temple on earth. This man is not you, sir, or no Nat Turner. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the host of this particular program, known here on what some may call the World Wide Web as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I am your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. You know, we are always somebody's brother or sister as long as we agree with them. When we say something they don't like, if we disagree with them, then you are my brother, you are my sister, but you a little crazy. You hate me. You are insane. You become loony. That is so sad. That is so sad. In our families, you may not agree with your mother. Your mother probably did not agree with you when you joined the Nation of Islam, when you became a black Hebrew Israelite, or when you joined the Black Power Cartel, or when you married a pink person, or whatever. We always disagree. That don't mean that we hate. That don't mean that we don't love you as much. My son just told me he's a homosexual. Do that mean that I should hate my son? And religious teachings will cause a man to hate his son when his son tells him, I'm homosexual. At the same time, we should understand that this environment that we live in causes certain behaviors. And when we look at ourselves, we are not healthy and well. So how can we judge others, and how can we determine and be angry at the results of what somebody has chosen to do in his or her life? We have become self-righteous and arrogant, and we need to stop that. For real. For real, though. On this 48th anniversary of the assassination of our brother Malcolm X, may he rest in peace forever. And no man, if no man deserved to rest in peace, Brother Malcolm deserves to rest in peace. But during this time that many of us observe this sad anniversary of the assassination of our brother, what would Brother Malcolm like to be said in his behalf? What would Malcolm like for us to know? Sister Betty Shabazz gives me a clue after listening to her in a speech made in 1995, where her and our brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, presented reconciliation. But Sister Betty made it very much known. She said, when Malcolm joined the Nation of Islam, it basically consisted of only 4 temples or mosques with a bunch of elderly people running around. But by the time Malcolm left the nation, or he was forced out of the nation because of his great work, the Nation of Islam rose to national prominence, and there was a temple or a mosque in every major city in the United States, plus overseas. And I also remind you that Malcolm X was the one that presented us with what we call the Muhammad Speaks. Unfortunately, because of jealousy and envy and personal hurt, because see, Malcolm was a sincere person. He was a very studious person. And he trusted the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I understand Malcolm. When Malcolm found out that Elijah was having all these relationships with these young women, this was outside of what the messenger was teaching his followers. And then, of course, we want to bring in that the messenger has the right to have 10 wives and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, but that's not what you taught me, and that's not what you're teaching. If you had taught us that in the beginning, why is it a secret? Why are you sneaking around like that? This is supposed to be a holy and righteous man. Of course Malcolm's supposed to be upset, and you should too. But see, we get all celebrity-fied. We start becoming slaves to personality, slaves to preachers and pastors. They can't do no wrong, and they can come up with any kind of excuse and reason to justify their actions. Yes, they are not perfect, so just let me know that you ain't perfect. Why are you trying to justify that you sneaking around with young women getting babies? Let us know. You're no different and no better than the racist pink people that are our oppressors, because that's what they do. Sneaking around. That's deceiver action. So why Malcolm can't be upset? But a slave to another man, a slave to personality and charisma or whatever it is, Negroes, y'all got that bad. These are nothing but men. They make mistakes, they make flaws, and they have errors. And so the CIA, the FBI, took advantage of all this stuff that was going on. And in the meantime, in defense of his teacher, Louis Farrakhan began to preach things to incite an atmosphere to cause great hatred of Malcolm. And so the result was the assassination of Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam's best friend. Even to this day, Malcolm X was the Nation of Islam's best friend. Allah gave you a gift, and look what you did. So what did Allah do? Now see, I'm not religious, but I'm looking at it from another point of view. So what did Allah do? You say that before Allah destroys a nation, it gives that nation or people a peek into the heavens. So after you assassinated Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam grew to great heights, didn't it? Gave you a peek at heaven. And then it all came crumbling down. It was destroyed. Nothing was left. And the man that was preaching hatred, calling Malcolm X a hypocrite, he became a hypocrite himself. And he confessed and admitted that. Running around with Jim Jones. And Wardean Muhammad had so many names, the man can't even make up his mind what he want to name himself. But that's who you following. And Louis Farrakhan continued to hate on Malcolm X, even after Malcolm was dead and gone. So in 1993, he tells us, what business it is of yours, America? This is how we treat. We don't tell you how to treat your traders. We are a nation, and we deal with our traders the way we deem fit. The problem with that statement is that you are not a nation. You're just a little organization that operates within the authority of another people. And if these people don't want you around no more, they know how to get rid of you. And the house that you're talking about, if it was not for Malcolm X, you wouldn't have nothing to talk about. Because ain't nobody been able to replicate what Malcolm did ever since. Even to this day. None of y'all can hold a match to the greatness of Malcolm. He had no internet. He had no TV. But you want to know something? But Malcolm X forgives everybody. Because Malcolm has that type of heart. He does not want his assassination to hinder the progress of black folks. And he was willing to die. And he knew there was a chance that he would be assassinated. Unfortunately, it was by people with his own skin color, kinky hair, broad nose, thick lips. But he was willing to give his life. And the Nation of Islam paid the ultimate price. It paid with its life. The Nation of Islam fell. And why did the Nation of Islam fall? Because you condemn a man who was not a hypocrite, and you hoisted on your shoulders the real hypocrite, Wardean Muhammad. This was common knowledge. The man was in and out of the nation. He made it clear that he did not support and did not believe in Elijah Muhammad's teaching, and y'all put him up as a leader. And he destroyed 40 years of work in less than 2 years. And the Nation of Islam continues to be punished because the Nation of Islam was wrong in what it did to Brother Malcolm X. But he forgives, and we will forgive you, but we will never forget, because some people out there still are immature. Some people still call Brother Malcolm a hypocrite. Still a fool. And as long as you're still a fool, your God Allah, you'll never progress. So that's why you look like you're going somewhere and you're doing the moonwalk, but you're not going nowhere. Malcolm was a good and sincere man. He did not deserve to be shot down like a dog in front of his wife and children. you can't handle the truth. We don't know if Sister Betty, the reason why she did what she did was to save her daughter. You said she did not, but we don't know that. Maybe she did what she did because you hurt that family. Farrakhan hurt that family. And those people who followed up with all that hate. And now you continue to pay the price. As long as the Nation of Islam is in existence, it's going to have to deal with what it done to a sincere man. And I'm going to continue to remind you of the hypocrites that y'all hoisted on your shoulder. You are forgiven, but it'll never be forgotten. And when you get arrogant like some of y'all do, you will be reminded of the evil that you did to your